Doug, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to tell a quick bit about your history and then we can get into where you are now.
Yeah, sounds great. First off, let me thank you all for what you do. This is important. And so it's an honor to be here and chatting with you. I actually like the title Unbroken Veterans. It actually happens to align kind of with where I'm at right now. So background is in the Air Force, 22 years, served as a behavioral scientist, mostly CONUS with one 8-month stint during the surge to Afghanistan. But I'm currently the Chief Development Officer at the University of Health and Performance, which is a veteran transition organization in Northwest Arkansas, down outside of Bentonville. We have a 700-acre campus there where we serve veterans and support them in transition through several different things like courses, but also a program we call Patriot Pathway, which is a veteran transition program as well. So happy to go into any of those details that you would like. That's what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, so I guess for starters, what's the biggest benefits that veterans are going to get from coming to your organization?
Great question. And I think what they'll get is, well, actually, what I know they'll get is clarity of purpose. Oftentimes, what we see with veterans when they go through a transition out of the service is they have a hard time sometimes understanding what their next mission is. And so what I like about the kind of notion around unbroken veterans is we very much ascribe to the idea that veterans are not broken. We're just all on our journey, just like anybody is. And so we carry with us both good and bad, like anyone does, from one mission to the next. And so we view our purpose to help people get through that transition. So what we do is we focus on helping people understand what their purpose is and then align that through a framework that we've developed that looks at kind of how you think, train, feel, and lead. So how are you thinking? How are you moving? What do I know about my emotions and how I show up? And then how do I live my values? So what people get when they come through our programs are that understanding of purpose and alignment with their values. And then we also upskill them in certain areas. It could be as a certified personal trainer. It could be a integrative health coach. It could be as a nutrition course. And we're also going to start an entrepreneurship course this way. But then we also do general week-long courses in veteran transition. So how do you, not your traditional, here's how you write a resume set up for an interview, but how do I understand how I'm showing up, and then what is my purpose, and how do I align my next job with what that purpose is? And so we have different courses. We're GI Bill approved for our courses as well. So we can meet a veteran at a lot of different entry points on their journey, depending upon what they're looking for.
When you were telling me about it a while back, that was one of the things. I think we even talked about it at length. Just like, for instance, being able to accept the GI Bill and being a part of that program. It's just such a huge thing, like helmets to hard hats, and where it really takes, as leaders, what do we try to do in the military a lot? We try to remove a lot of excuses or just a lot of obstacles from people with the challenges, because it's all about helping each other achieve the common goal, whether it's having a squared away life or whatever it is. So I really like to highlight that is just a fantastic, one of the many fantastic aspects that you guys have going for you. So love that. Far as kind of getting more information, I mean, obviously probably a website is one of the best ways. Are there other good ways to get some more information as far as what people can and may want to do?
Absolutely. And we just kind of redesigned our website to do that. So we're at university-hp.com is our website. And we go through a lot of what's going on. So you mentioned the GI Bill. That's something that we worked really hard to get. And we are, just so everybody understands, we are a veteran-only organization in
Right.
terms of serving both active guard, reserve, and veteran members. And so they can go to the website. They can reach out directly to me at doug@university-hp.com as well. Happy to answer any questions that people have.
Perfect. And we'll put that information both in the description of this and then also on our website, which was also recently redone. Nick
Nice.
has done a wonderful job. Uh,
Great.
Very good. So, listeners, check that out. We're really happy. We're finally a .com now. We were some .io / 1000 PQXY money sign. So now we're I feel real legit now.
Okay.
What
Good.
it
No,
is.
yeah. Welcome to the 20th century on that. So it's all
Yeah,
good.
thank you. We just stepped out of our covered wagon.
Nice.
So for getting started, the program sounds like the website's the way to go through to start that part of the journey. And then where do they go from there?
They just contact us. There's a lot of information and a lot of entry points that they can have. And it's the key thing for us is we're not trying to get people to go through our programs, and we're not trying to do that. We really want to meet the veteran where they're at. If we can provide information, context, if they want to come through one of our programs, we've got folks on staff that can walk them through how to apply for the GI Bill and or utilize their GI Bill there. And now with some new legislation, a lot of folks are eligible now for extra 12 months of GI Bill as well, beyond the original 36. So that's great.
Awesome.
We just want to make sure that we support all veterans across all phases of the transition. If we can be a part of it, great. If not, then we'd like to point them in the right direction to whatever that agency can be.
Yeah, and also you guys being able to get people started even on active duty or reserve
Right.
guard status, that something I've noticed talking to various veterans both on here and off here is it definitely it can seem arduous or daunting, but getting kind of your transition started before you're even transitioning out technically seems to be real key to people just kind of hitting the ground running, and not that you can't do it or not that getting out and kind of figuring out what you want to do is the first step. Everyone has their different journey, but if people are willing to start earlier, which I do recommend, if you're able to, then being able to do that with your program is fantastic. Yet something else I want to highlight.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's an important thing that I want to double tap as well, is that idea of starting early, right? We're all in different phases, whether you're on an enlistment or a commission, regardless of where you're at. We're always kind of coming into or coming out of one of those phases. So just that preparation doesn't mean you got to take that step. But if you step into a TAP office and that's the first time you've thought about it, you're going to be behind the eight ball a little bit that way. But it's never too late to
right.
formulate a plan. But you're right; it should be always thinking about what kind of that next looks like.
Yeah. And you guys have online classes, is that right? Or
We
no?
have what?
Online classes?
All our classes are in resident, and so we
Okay.
have our programs are in resident. We our campus is set up with dorms, with dining facilities, and all that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's an immersive experience as part of our learning model. There are some great opportunities to learn, but thinking about what your purpose is and identifying that, aligning, and then upskilling, we're able to do it in a compressed time frame. So
Hmm.
some of our courses are 19 days. You come in, you do that, and like with a certified personal trainer, you'll walk in the door. We'll train you as a certified personal trainer. You'll walk away with a certification in that, so that you can be upskilled and on your way. And so we're able to use an immersive environment to upskill rapidly within that by kind of keeping you in the learning mode throughout. So we're able to really briefly get. That's why we can do it with folks that are on active duty or guard reserve, because
Yeah.
they get some leave to come in and do that in a short amount of time.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Far as kind of you kind of talked about it a little bit, but if there's anything you want to add to mission statement or overall goal, I mean, obviously the end goal is to get people squared away and on their feet, but is there more that you want to speak to that as far as a mission statement?
Yeah. So our mission statement is to empower veterans to lead with purpose and impact, equipping them with the tools, education, and support needed for successful transitions. So really, that's what we do. So we have some specific things that are those 19-day programs, kind of our flagship programs. But we also have a program called Patriot Pathway, which is for those folks that are in starting that transition cycle on active duty. It's a 5-day program. It's totally free. You come in and we help people walk through and align what that purpose is. So you'll come down to Arkansas, stay on campus with us, and then we help align because what we find is if people can figure out what their purpose is, then they're more successful during that transition. Because if
Yeah.
we look at the data tells us roughly 40 to 50% of veterans will transition out of their very first job out of the military within the first year. And that number climbs close to 80% after the second year. And it's not because they're not good at what they do. It's because sometimes we don't think about how does that align with what I want to do. And so what we do during that week long is we help people unpack what do they want to do? How do they see that? So it's not a resume writing or anything like that. It's an opportunity to come down here for free, figure it out, get sorted, and then go, okay, now how do I get after it? What kind of jobs do I want to look at that align with what I'm good at, my strengths, my vision, my values, and then how do I live out my purpose through that transition? So
Awesome.
a lot of different ways that we can utilize that and support.
Yeah. When you say traveling down there for free, are you guys covering traveling costs too, or is that getting worked out another way?
We cover the entire course of the program itself. So once they
Okay.
get
Yeah.
down here, we cover everything else from food
Yeah.
and lodging throughout that program. We're looking
Okay.
at ways to partner to maybe create some of that travel type opportunities, but we're working through the logistics on that. That turns out that's a pretty complicated process. And that's saying after we got approved for the GI Bill, after working through that process, the travel seems to be a bit of a sticky wicket for us, but we're working through that right now.
Okay. And how long has everything been up and running?
Our program at the University of Health and Performance has been around for about 3 years, but
Okay.
our founder, Matt Hesse, has been doing these types of transition programs for 6 or 7 years prior.
Okay.
Prior to that, it started out as FitOps and then moved into the University of Health and Performance once we got our campus down in Bentonville.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. As far as some good success stories, what are some maybe excuse me, highlight some success stories of people who've gone away and really accomplished some great things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what you come to UHP for. If you want to come and be some people come to our programs and say, hey, I want to be a certified personal trainer so I can go and open my own gym. We've had about 2,500 students to date through our campus.
Wow.
Through that, again, active guard reserve across all the different components and all the different branches. And so they're out operating gyms. Some of them want to go work at like a D1 or a Lifetime Fitness. And so we've got independent coaches working that, being entrepreneurs. So we've got people in those. Some people will come to us they really don't know what they're looking for. But our program in certified personal training is about creating coaches, not just trainers. So the coaching skills that we scaffold throughout that program help them be better dads, better moms, better coworkers, and that way, really corporate citizens. So some of our success stories will be ones that you'll never read about because it's helping someone understand how to be a better dad, how to be how to be a better son in that component. And those are really our success stories. Sure, we have people opening gyms and doing that kind of stuff, and that's great, and we're happy with that. But what we like to hear most is doing that. And I think, and we've hired back a lot of our own graduates that are now on staff with us as well, I think is a testament to our ability to create opportunities with that as well. So that kind of paints a breadth of what it is. Again, the successful transitions we often don't hear about because people just go out and they do great things. Sometimes we hear about it when people get stuck or have a challenge, and we think our success is in those stories that aren't being told necessarily in the news of things where people get stuck or they're bouncing from job to job, and we're able to come in, create alignment. And we've created partnerships with a lot of different organizations. One of them is Operation Homefront Village on our campus. We have a 9 basically unit apartment house on base where veterans can come and stay with their families as they're going through some of the courses and not have to worry about housing and where their family's going to stay. So they can come down here, stay in Homefront Village. They can go through and attend some of our courses, and then they leave and go back to wherever they came from, and they can get after it because they've been upskilled, their family's been taken care of, and now all of a sudden they've got this training that's been paid for by the GI Bill, and so they have no debt at the same time. So we
Yeah.
really try to attack transition at the ecosystem level, at the individual ecosystem. So if we can support the family, we support transition. If we can support the veteran, we support transition. If we can upskill, then we help after the transition is over. So we try to attack in many different ways.
Yeah. Well, I could say, when you have a really good cause, people want to give back to it if they
Yep.
got something from it. And so for y'all have people coming back in and wanting to be a part of it again, says one, well, the atmosphere had to be good because not many people are going to want to join back up with a poor atmosphere. And two, just the overall cause and what you guys are achieving. So that's great to hear as well. How much staff do you have currently?
Right now, we've got about 25 on staff, and based on some of the demand signals that we've got, we're going to be increasing that over the year. And we've got some really key partnerships as well. Organizations like Pure Life Water. If you go and buy a case of Pure Life Water, on the outside wrap of that, you'll see the University of Health and Performance. They're a great sponsor, and they sponsored a building for us, a culinary center that we have there. We've got a great partnership with Nutrabolt, and C4 Energy Drinks is a big partner of ours as well. And then we have other partners like the Green Beret Foundation that we're doing some transition work with as well, plus many others. So
Okay.
we take an approach that way.
Awesome. For people wanting to start out in your program, what's some advice you would give, whether it's the initial phase or as they go through it? What's something you would want them to keep in mind or even do
Yeah,
themselves?
yeah, that's a great question. I think for a lot of it is keeping an open mind. Again, a lot of our programs are focused on, at least our GI Bill programs are focused in upskilling in a certain area, but we're not just really upskilling toward a particular skill set, although we do provide certifications in our programs. It's really about upskilling in how we are showing up, how we are as a leader, how we can be the best version of ourselves every single day. And we, again, approach that from the physical, from the mental, from the social, as well as from the leadership dynamics. So I think it's really just being open to opportunities that are out there and giving it a shot. And again, that's why we created, in part, our Patriot Pathway program, so people can understand a little bit more about what we do. We can support them over a 5-day quick program. And then if they want to come back and do a little bit more, again, we're really excited about our culinary nutrition program and our entrepreneurship programs, which will be starting this year. Culinary nutrition coach is the first of its kind in the United States that focuses on, you hear about farm to table. We go from seed to stomach from the standpoint of we're teaching people to grow, plant, grow, source, plan meals, and prepare meals for people across there within a really short amount of time. So we can
Awesome.
actually meet people with a lot of different needs depending upon where they're at.
That's great. And then as far as all the subjects you guys cover, because it's clearly well-rounded. I mean, you guys go through fitness stuff, it sounds like, as well as nutrition. Do you hit like metaphysical and things like that as well?
Not as in depth, but certainly when we start talking about how do we think, how do we feel, how do we understand our emotions, and then bring that to bear, right? So you're probably familiar with emotional intelligence, and how do we think about that? How are we showing up? How do we understand how our emotions can either amplify and support what we're doing? And then how do we understand that with the relationships that we form as well? Because sometimes, people will put up barriers and do that. So that's really that idea of, that purpose alignment of how do I want to show up? And then how do I get after it? Sometimes we know, but sometimes we tend to keep looking in the rearview mirror and forgetting we've got, a windshield that we can look out of as well. And so what we do is really try to help align that and understand that, it's not baggage that we're bringing with us, it's luggage that we're bringing with us, right? Some of that stuff is stuff that is about who we are. And we all just kind of bring that with us. So I think it has to do with that purpose, values, vision, alignment with that. And then, just be ready to do some work, because any development that you're going to do takes work. And that's not a bad thing, right? We're all used to
Right.
work. Veterans know how to work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what we do. It's in our DNA. So all we do is just teach people to do that to support themselves versus supporting somebody else all the time. So how can you turn inward to really take advantage of that? And then, we're really good about service and serving others. We're not so good about serving ourselves. So
Yeah.
part of that is understanding that it's okay to serve ourselves. That's not selfish. It's actually how we show up better every day.
Yeah.
Right. It's that whole idea of leaders eat last, but leaders still eat, right? We still got
Yeah.
to take care of ourselves and what we're doing. So we kind of ascribe to the notion of who you are is how you lead. So if we want to lead better, we want to be better, we want to grow in that area, we got to understand we got to do a little bit of work inside, and that's okay. So we through our coaching methodology, we help people understand that for themselves so that they can give to others as they coach.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
one of the things that we're trying to get the word out more about what we do. I mean, sometimes we're guilty, like a lot of organizations. We put our head down and we just go after the work, and we just try to pour into every student that comes across our campus and what we're doing. And sometimes we forget to tell people about it just because we love what we do, and we're just everybody's there because they want to serve and continue to serve and have found a way to keep doing that. So it's fun to get after it every day.
We thank you for listening, and we hope you got something helpful out of this.
Right now, the best way to support us is to simply spread the word. If you know a fellow veteran who could use some resources to elevate their life, send them our way.
Until next time, remember to check your 0s, 5s, 10s, and 25s.